Well, shit. Hello friends, welcome to my room. It's 2 p.m. right now, which means that since I'm shooting a video tomorrow at 3, that gives me 24 hours to clean my room. 24 hours, some of which I plan to spend sleeping and also eating. So anyways, join me on this adventure to clean my room and make it semi-presentable. Open these damn windows. Ah! Look how much brighter it is. So after spending 5 minutes trying to figure out how to open my trash can, I decided to start by cleaning the space between my bed and the wall because I dropped a lot of stuff down there, and it was so gross. Like, really gross. I had to clean dust off of all the stuff that I found with a towel that I also found in the space between my bed and the wall. And then I realized I was going to need a vacuum, so I got a vacuum. So here's me vacuuming all of that space between the bed and the wall. And then I found a box full of Legos that honestly I have no idea where it came from. Phase 2. Next, I fold pants at the speed of light. Actually, I fold them very slowly because I'm really picky about how I fold my clothes. I was already bad about it, and then I got a job in retail, so now I'm really bad about it. Anyways, I decided to start with this side of the room because it was mostly just things I needed to put in my closet. It was all just a pile of stuff I had brought back from school but had nowhere to put. So I decided to sort it all into piles of shirts and pants and skirts and things that should be hung but are not hung because I didn't have hangers. And then I decided to start going through the boxes where I found a lot of socks that didn't have pairs. I'm not really sure if I'm allowed to put the Star Wars logo here, but whatever. And then I found this sweater that's actually my favorite sweater. I thought it had been lost in the laundry service, but apparently not. And then my mom got a text on her phone. Okay, wait, hold on. I need to pause to explain this for a second. Basically, what happened is my mom left her phone at home when she had left for work that morning. And because she's a doctor, she gets time-sensitive texts and calls sometimes. So she messaged me over Google Messenger asking me to hold onto her phone to the day and to let her know if anyone texted her. And so, yeah. Basically, I had to go get my laptop to relay a text to her, and then I decided the room was too quiet, so I found myself a chill 80s music playlist, which in reality ended up just being every 80s song that doesn't sound like a marching band, but honestly, I wasn't complaining. Anyway, then I spent way too long folding this shirt, and I folded some more shirts and some shorts that used to be yoga pants, and then I got distracted by this bag again where I found a lot of adapters that I have no use for and never had any use for, and folded these leather pants that I always say I won't wear but then do wear, and then I got distracted by the fact that my trash bag had a hole in it, so I put my trash into a different bag and then put that bag back in the trash can. Oh, here's the bag that I took to take the essay. Okay, it's gone now. Anyways, then I went to rewinding up my belts and the random ribbons that my grandmother gave to me to use as belts, but I actually use as chokers. I'm not gonna lie, I actually use a lot of the belts as chokers too, but we don't need to talk about that. Anyways, after I was done, I sat for a moment and contemplated all my life decisions, and then realized that that could wait until after I actually had room to move around in my bedroom. So I kept folding and folding and folding some more, and I found a lot of socks, and there was a lot more folding, and you're probably bored of all this by now, so I may as well take this time to explain why I am suddenly wearing a jersey and half of a skirt. Basically what happened is I found a lot of things in this pile that I didn't know where to put. For example, that monstrous hat that I'm wearing, and then this basketball jersey that I used when I was in middle school and still played basketball, and then this half skirt that I made out of a plaid skirt that was too small for me. I had no idea where in my closet to put them, and I had this vague idea that I wanted to keep them, so I just put them on my body. Oh, and then I found the bag where I put clothes that I want to donate, so I decided to make another bag of things that aren't clothes that I wanted to donate. And then I found my self-portrait, which is kind of scary, so I put that away. Then I found an old box from pads, a calculator, and a safety glove, by which point I had basically reached all the large items against this wall, which consisted of my blackboard, this circle of cardboard that I used as a shield, and this foam board that I used for drawing on. I also found that leather jacket that my hair used to get stuck on, so I never wore it, but now that I have short hair, I can actually wear it again. And then I sorted through my old backpack that I stopped using because it had a hole in it. And then I thought, hey, I can finally decorate this wall. So after rescuing this overpriced watch that my great uncle gifted me and moving the box, I decided to hang up some of the drawings that I made at a pre-college program one time. But not before moving some underwear. Also, I realized that I didn't have any wall hanging appropriate tape in my room, so I had to go find my masking tape. And then when I got back, I looked at all my drawings, and I decided I never wanted to look at my self-portrait again, and I stared at the wall for a while. And then, most people would probably measure the wall, or at least make sure there was enough space for all of them, but I decided to just wing it and start taping stuff. So, here I am, taping, lots of tape. This first drawing that I'm putting up is meant to be a close-up of a bagel. It was an assignment on texture, and I got really good feedback on that dark section in the middle, but then I got in a lot of trouble for not putting enough detail on the rest of it, which honestly was very valid feedback. I did not put enough effort into the rest of this drawing. But, it was a good time, I liked it, and then I got to eat the bagel afterwards. The second drawing that I'm putting up that you can't really see, it's probably a good thing that you can't see it because the prompt was to draw a nightmare. And I got pretty bad marks for this one because people couldn't figure out what it was, but the issue was that I drew too specific of a nightmare. And I'm not going to explain the details to you, but basically it involved a lot of ritual sacrifice. Also, note to self, pillows do not make good stepping stools. Then I realized that while I was hanging up my drawings, my mom had gotten multiple texts that I hadn't sent to her, so I went to send them to her, but I couldn't find her phone, so I had to use my computer to call her phone so that I could find it, and then I finally did find it, so I sent her the messages and then went back to work. I'll skip over the next part because it's pretty boring. Will say, though, that winging it did not pay off because I ended up having to move my bookshelf twice and then moving it too far, so I moved it back. Anyways, the moral of the story is measure your wall space.
And somehow, even though I had spent the last hour and a half cleaning, my room had become more of a mess. Yes. There's a dead beetle in our scale and I don't know how it got in there.
Anyways, after taking a short break that turned into a long break because I got distracted by playing farming games and then helping my mom make dinner, I finally came back to clean my room, the other half of my room. While I was taking my break, I watched a lot of TikToks with Dua Lipa songs in them, so I had this sudden urge to listen to Dua Lipa. Lipa? Someone please inform me. Anyways, I let YouTube autoplay after that, and it ended up playing a lot of really sad EDM songs, which I don't know how EDM can be sad, but somehow they did it, so I really needed a change of pace and ended up listening to Conan Gray instead. It's quality clothes folding music. Anyway, while I was folding clothes, I realized that I had that giant poster that was of sentimental value, but I had nowhere to put it. So I decided it was time to take down my Finn Wales poster from 3rd grade and this painting that I made with my now ex-best friend in 5th grade. It's a really bright orange poster, so it didn't really go with the color scheme, but I never really had a color scheme to begin with, so it's all good. And now you can enjoy some butt shots as I put away my winter clothes. Beautiful. And here's me struggling off screen to get into my closet to put my clothes away, because there's so much stuff in my room I can't open my closet. But in the process, I did find some pretty fun things like these badly designed BTS socks. And just in case anyone gets bored, which you probably are, I put my laptop so you can see it and you can watch Conan Gray music videos and time-lapse. Wow.
The more I look at this wall, the more I like it. Okay, that's really creepy. We're just gonna forget about the fact that I'm gonna have to look at that every time I go to bed. Short interlude to look at some funny things I found. This is a book that my uncle got for my dad, even though he is the geek and not the girl dating the geek. This is the embarrassing Jimin standee that my best friend got me as a joke gift. This is my time capsule from my freshman year of high school. I originally thought there was nothing in it, but a flash drive. This flash drive, which I actually haven't looked at the contents of yet. But no, there's actually some letters that I asked my friends to write for me. Haiku for Piper Bao. Pipes, speaks no Chinese. Dances like ballerina. Dates Peter I love you, Piper, you're so special. I never dated. anybody named. I have not dated a man since 8th grade. To Piper from Jacob, have a great graduation. Piper is my fave, but she's not the best Asian. Please don't kill me now. What? I'm taking this hat off. I can't take myself seriously. Not that I ever took myself seriously. Why do I have so many letters from Jacob? So this one is also from Jacob, Dear Piper, and then there is a drawing of what I think is a foot in a ballet slipper.
This letter is a bit longer and more personal, so I'll skip over it, but the main takeaway that you should have is...
Please don't compare me to Rachel Berry. Oh, this is cute. This is actually not from my freshman year. This is something that I asked one of my math teachers to write me when I was graduating. So after the end of the year, the seniors stay another week before graduation, and then in order to keep all of the seniors out of trouble and keep them from getting expelled before they graduate, the school runs all these events. So one of them is this like nighttime indoor fair thing, and they bring in people to do like palm reading and do drawings. So this is one that I did with my friends. Guess which one's me?
One of the teachers who was supervising the event was a math teacher that I had had twice, I think, in my high school career. And while I've never been particularly close to any of my teachers, he really stood out to me because he always remembered who I was. While I was in his class, I always used to fold origami cranes because it helped me focus, and I always left them there after class because I had nothing to do with them, and I expected him to throw them away, but he actually kept all of them and put them on his projector. And from what I've heard from my friends who had him afterwards, he still has them. Actually, he wrote in his letter to me that he's still keeping them. When he came to dance concerts, he would always find me afterwards or send me an email telling me how well I had done or what he thought of the pieces. Sometimes my friends will actually come to me during a club meeting or during dinner and tell me about how he was talking about me during class, and honestly, it just made me so fluffy inside, you know? He was really a sweet man, so I asked him to write me a letter, especially because he was retiring the same year I was graduating, so I wanted something to have of him. The next letter I found was much less sweet. It was mostly about how she wanted to kick me and was drawing me a 5-cent bag of dicks. Rose, if you're watching this, I love you.
Now back to cleaning my room.
Some other things I found while cleaning include this box of fossilized Bertie Bott's Every Flavored Beans and the posters from every show that I choreographed for. I decided to hang those on my wall too. My approach when I'm decorating my room tends to have less to do with actually trying to make things look good and more to do with just documenting what I've been up to recently and who I've been recently. I like to put up posters from events I've been a part of, and I like to hang up train tickets and concert tickets and theater tickets that are associated with things that mean a lot to me. I also end up putting up a lot of photos of myself and random items that I've found. Like, see that red thing on the board? That's actually a no trespassing sign I found in the woods, maybe like 6 years ago. I also hang up a lot of my art, A, because I like the way it looks, but also because it's a good way to keep track of what I've been interested in recently. And for me, for some reason, it's really easy to associate things I've created with moments in my life. And then I found the old bullet journal that I kept for approximately a month, and then I found an old sketchbook and some Lego minifigures, and I'll spare you the embarrassing skits.
Save me! Art exhibit part 2. The first thing we did in my design class was experiment with different ways to make lines. Basically, the first one to make, I don't know, was it like 50 different lines? Won. The team that won used blood. I feel like this is like vaguely aesthetic though. Maybe I should put it up here in this big empty space around there.
So I did. And hanging these up took an embarrassingly long amount of time, so I'll fast forward through some of that. But even once all of them were up, it was still looking kind of empty, so I needed something to fill the space. I ended up finding these bookmarks that I made for Valentine's Day a long time ago, like, I'm talking back when I was in middle school. So I decided that it might be kind of cool to hang those up as well. I don't know if you can see it in the video, but I made the bookmarks by putting pressed flowers in between two clear pieces of plastic. So in the end, it kind of ended up being like when people paste dried flowers to their wall, which looks really cool. But I feel like if you did that, you would get dead flowers all over your floor all the time. Then I appraise my work, and then I stand like I'm Jenny from Blackpink, and then I decide I want to put some things on my board but can't get the push pins out of the box, so I have to cut a hole with some scissors, a bigger hole than there already is. But that hole didn't work, so I had to cut another hole. I wonder if this video will get flagged for being unchild friendly if I say the word hole too many times. Anyway, after that I did some less interesting things like sorting through my old cosplay costumes and finding some award certificates that should be put in frames that were not in frames. So I put them in frames, but I didn't have any more frames, so I had to put them in frames that were already being used. And then I found some calligraphy my grandmother gave me. Anyway, we're just gonna fast forward through that all at the speed of light because no one has time to watch all of that. And then I got real late, so I decided it was probably time to go to sleep because it was 4 in the morning, so I was gonna finish the project in the morning. But some highlights from the night include...
So I just moved my box of sewing material, and I found these puddles of nail polish top coat that leaked out of a not properly closed bottle, and I'm having so much trouble getting them off the floor.
But yeah, sleep is important. So I slept for like 5 hours, and then I woke up at 9, and it was time to keep cleaning.
Oh god. What do I do with all this stuff?
After consulting with my maternal unit, we decided it was finally time to start shoving things in the space on the ends of my bed and pretending they didn't exist. But first I finished bringing all the things downstairs that did not belong in my room anymore, that I forgot to bring downstairs the night before, or the time before I went to sleep before I most recently woke up. Anyway, after I did that, there was a lot less stuff in my room, so I felt less bad about just shoving things in the corners. So let's zoom to the end. I cannot believe I just said that. Anyway, we're fast forwarding, and I'm finally done! And this is what my finished room looks like. And here we have a snazzy before and after. Wow. Look at her go.
Okay, goodbye.